Hey, good evening. It's Monday, March 12th, 2018, and I'm Rusty. This is the Stunthangar live video hangout, and it's for all of you aeromodelers and people that like to do anything else with tools in your workshop. Planes, trains, automobiles, race cars, boats, but mostly airplanes, model airplanes, and control line is our specialty, but everybody's welcome. So if you will click the links that I've posted on the Stunt Hanger Control Line forums in the At the Bench thread, and that's where they always are, then you can get in and join us either in the live video chat and hopefully in the chat box too. Now, I've done some research on the chat box because it's been on again, off again, and it turns out everybody that does these chats, these video hangouts, is having the same problem. And YouTube, Google, the GoogTube, if you must, um, is doing some upgrades continuously. It seems like it never ends, but they're doing it while we're at work, uh, uh, trying to do our video hangouts. And so sometimes the chat works and sometimes the chat doesn't work. Hopefully one of these days they'll get it worked out and figured out. But meanwhile, it's just on again, off again. We'll have to deal with it as it comes. And hopefully y'all can come, because we like for the YouTube guys to come. They don't have to have much bandwidth, just enough to do text chat. And we integrate that into our conversations here and answer questions. You can ask questions, throw us your opinions, and it makes it a little livelier. And it's kind of bad when the video chat box isn't working. So we'll hope it is tonight. I've got it loaded and am watching for anybody that jumps in and posts a message. So right now it looks like we've only got one viewer. If you would just send me a test message, you don't have to tell me who you are or anything, but at least I'll know whether it's working or not. Works for me, but it always does if I post something in it. Some nights we can use it, some nights we can't. But anyway, moving along. We got off to a rough start weather-wise this week. It was cold and rainy again. It was like we reverted back to February. I hope some of y'all are having better luck with the weather than we are. But anyway, that time's coming. We got the spring season coming up on us in this area, and let's see, we've got the rest of March, so 2 weeks, April 4th, so about six weeks we'll start having our first contests. And like I said, this area, that'll be at Huntersville, the Carolina Classic. And a couple of weeks after that, on the last weekend of Joe Nall, we have the Triple Tree or Joe Nall Stunt Contest. And hope people will come to that, because if you can't go to Brodak, then Triple Tree's the place to go. It's just pure stunt heaven up there. The greens are like the circles are like golf course greens, and they're so flat and perfectly mowed that you could roll your plane around on its wheels for the whole flight without chipping the prop if you had to. So it's a great place to come, and look forward to seeing some of you guys that I see every year. Some of you guys that have never been there, it'd be nice if y'all want to come down too. And we have another contest in October at Huntersville, and it's a lot bigger because it's not competing with both Joe Nall and Brodak in the same time frame, between May and June. And so the lesser crowd at the Carolina Classic in Huntersville is nice to get started. Call it your practice contest, and the atmosphere is just like that too. In this sport, it's people helping people, no matter whether it's somebody that's directly competing with you, or if it's just somebody getting the beginner kicked off, and hanging with him and pitting for him, and it's what makes it a great hobby to be in all the way around, whether you're a sport flyer or a competition flyer. it's great to go to the contest if you want to fly or if you want to run scorecards or whatever. But we will sit here tonight until about midnight or so is usually when we go, and anybody that wants to drop in and chat is welcome. And I see we got, hey, Jamie, this is James Holford joining us. Hadn't seen you in a long time. How you doing, bud?
Oh, living a dream.
Oh, yeah, that's good. The American dream. Here comes Sparky, too. Good evening, Sparky.
What's going on?
Not much. I was just talking to Jamie. Our first visitor just showed up, and I was telling the people in my introduction that I checked out the chat box problem that we've been having, and it looks like everybody that does these hangouts, or I don't know about everybody, but lots of people are having the same problem. Some nights the chat box works, and some nights the chat box doesn't. We've got 2 viewers showing right now, and maybe one of them will post something in the chat box, and we'll find out if it's working or not. I checked and made sure in the advanced settings it was turned on. But anyway, we're here to talk about aeromodeling. So if y'all join us and entertain each other.
You remember me telling you about me getting a strike against the Bob Hunt video?
Maybe not. You got to refresh me on that.
Well, people try to put a copyright strike on you so they can get the ad revenue from a video. And I wrote YouTube, I disputed it. This is my content. Doesn't belong to anybody. And they removed it finally. That's a second strike on that video.
When somebody puts a strike on you, does it have a reason, anything accompanying it telling you why or what it's about?
Yeah, copyrighted material, like they own it.
We don't play any music or anything. What could they possibly own or claim that they own?
A clip. Well, it's just me sitting in front of a green screen with the news background interviewing Bob Hunt. So, I don't know. I think they're from Nigeria. They just want to aggravate me.
Maybe so. I don't know. We've still got our one detractor that always gives us a thumb down after each show. And I used to wonder if it was just the shows that you were on, maybe they were aiming it at you, but they've been doing it when it's just me too. So I don't know what that's about either. But anyway, everybody else seems to like us. We have a pretty good time here. What you been working on, Jamie?
That
supper right now, aren't you?
Yeah. Just a twister.
What sort of twister is it? What brand is it? A SIG or is it a Walter Umlin or what?
No, it's SIG. I'm gonna build it stock.
I'm working on Voodoo 4.
Wow, man, you're the voodoo child lately.
5 and 6.
Mercy. Maybe I'll buy one of those from you when you're through with them.
Sparky, you scratch builded any of them, or those are all out kits?
They're all scratch built.
What are you using for your leading edge?
A leading edge.
The big D?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just picked up one of them at the hobby shop today.
$6.
Yeah, I think that's about one.
Is that 1-inch stock?
1-inch leading edge, yeah.
Yeah.
Baseball bat.
My hobby shop doesn't sell any lead edge stock. I have to buy square sticks and make it myself.
Now I have a clip in my computer that I haven't posted yet on the updated Voodoo bell crank mounting system. This system has a piece of plywood stuck between the engine bearers, and it's doweled right there because there's really nothing here to hold that outboard thing for pulling out. Then if you look at this, this has a carbon fiber spar inside it as well, instead of the 1/4 inch spar. And I also, I can't live without modifying things. The way the Voodoo goes, they want this sheeting to come down over the top of this leading edge. And it looks so crappy when you cover it, I decided I'd recess it and sand it so it sanded flat with that. So,
yeah, it sounds like it'd make a bump in the covering the other way.
it does.
Yeah, mine has the 1/4 inch spar in it. But mine's the short boom version.
Carbon fiber, for instance, if you had a balsa spar and a carbon fiber spar, they weigh about the same thing, don't they? Or is carbon fiber lighter than balsa?
I'd say that spar is just a little heavier.
Yeah. I've compared some carbon fiber and balsa, and I thought the CF was just a little bit heavier. But
that carbon fiber spar is $9 too.
Yeah, carbon fiber.
In this thing, I probably got $25 in material.
Yeah.
$6 on the leading edge, $9 on the carbon spar. Plus, it was $3 for the bell crank. That's 18. Yeah, about $25 for Voodoo plus covering. Which I got a deal on covering. Got 2 rolls of Monocoat for $5 a roll.
Yeah, that's a real good deal. I think I pay about $16 for a 6-foot roll.
Yeah, it's about the same here too.
I found a good deal. Brodak had on clearance some Randolph dope in several different colors. I chose vermilion red. It was the only color that was anywhere near my usual stock of colors, and they were selling them instead of $17 a can, they were selling them for $5.99 a can for a what is it, 16? That's more than 16 ounces, something like that. Anyway, a half a quart, whatever that is. But yeah, that's 16 ounces, and so a couple of those, that'll keep me painting red things for a while. I still got to get my cobalt, which I found, and my chrome. I haven't decided on what I want yet. That, you remember telling me about that link to watch on YouTube about brushing chrome?
Yeah.
And man, that's amazing looking stuff. It looks like you just made a mirror when you paint something. So the only thing that makes me hesitate is the cost. Pay about $40 for a can of it, I think. And it wasn't clear to me what you're supposed to paint underneath it. If you should have a primer or a silver back, or rather a black background, or what. So I got to read more about it. But hopefully that'll match up good with the chrome monocoat that I've got for my wing. I want chrome and blue monocoat for the wing, and then for the fuselage paint, I never put monocoat on anything but the wings. Well, I don't see any action over on the chat box yet. We still got our original 2 viewers. Once we get started and there's enough people to keep the conversation going, I'll go screw with the settings a little bit and see if I can find anything that turns the light on.
I wonder why the forum's been dead today. I guess people are at VSC.
I don't know. You got enough members to where one event wouldn't keep it too far down.
Guy was whining that there wasn't much going on, but I looked and there's 12 posts in open forum and 6 posts, and there's a whole lot better than Stuka.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stuka, you got 2 posts and then it jumps to 2014.
Even on a bad day, Stunthangar's always got something constantly going on. I keep my main bookmark into Stunthangar to the recent unread posts that I've participated in, and then right there with it is all recent unread posts, and that's the best way to find out what's going on.
I'll finish this voodoo one day.
What's that, Jamie?
I'll finish this voodoo one day.
Yeah, I didn't realize you had one started. Those are nice. I like that. It's so much simpler than a Super Satan too. I think that might be a good fun project for me to build.
Yeah. Except the bad thing is when I put this thing together, not with the drawings I had, it didn't exactly tell you what to do with the nacelle, like in the middle, or the engine pod, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
So I put the block in there and I cut it and I sanded it where it's supposed to come all the way out. To where you can mount the engine. No,
Yeah.
that big piece of hardwood's glued right in the center of the ribs.
Oh crap. Yeah, that's right. Because I was wondering about that gap when Sparky did his first one, and then before I asked, when I saw him mount it, I realized that fills that whole gap up when you mount it in place.
I mean, I got another one.
Now you
I realized
can take the Dremel and fix that problem.
I mean, I could, but I mean, I can still make it work because I still got the two motor mounts that go on top and the other part that goes on there, and I can just fill it in.
Yeah, there's plenty of ways to fix that. I always get ahead of myself and do something like that too on just about every build.
But this kit was CNC made from one of Tom's friends for a deal of I gave some guy like 6 049 engines, and the dude cut me 4 voodoo kits.
Sounds like a good deal to me. What kind of 049s were they?
Just your regular old baby bees, nothing special.
Those things are a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
You could load them in a potato gun. If you ran out of ammo, they'd pack a pretty good whop.
I mean, I sold one of the voodoos, gave my dad one. I got this one started. I got another one I'm keeping. I'm going to build.
Everybody's building voodoos. What happened? I started it. And
yeah, you must have, Sparky. Either that or you got the bug from somebody else that we don't give credit for.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I started this one probably almost a year ago. It's just been sitting on the wall. But it's just like every other plane I started, it ends up on the wall.
Mine ends up buried up to its armpits in the dirt somewhere. I'm exaggerating. Not quite that bad, but it seems like I wreck everything I build sooner or later.
Yeah, like I got the magician. And it ain't a whole terrible lot left to do on this thing. I mean, there's a lot, but it's not as bad.
I like the magician. I got a buddy out at our Congaree field that brings one out sometimes. He's a pretty decent flyer.
Yeah.
What about a time machine? Any of y'all ever built a time machine?
Nah.
Nope.
I don't know who designs it or anything about it, but the one I've seen looked really nice. Flew pretty good. Friends flew it in a contest. I think it's a 40 size plane. I got the rest of the paint and dope and all that I need for the Cardinal. And Tom Creasy's joining us. Good evening, Thomas.
Yo. Oh, how you doing?
Very good. What you got, the Stuka there in front of you? Behind you?
Ready to go. It final weight ready to take off is 32.8 ounces.
Good weight.
Oh, we got a chatter on YouTube. Bob Bishop.
What'd you say, Spark?
Good weight.
Good. Okay. Yeah, I was pretty pleased. But yeah, had to fix the tank. Did a leak check on the tank before I put it in.
Did it leak?
Yep, sure did. It leaked out of every solder joint of the pipe. The pipes coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, all three pipes. The copper tubing or brass tubing.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you use copper or brass.
Yep.
Whose tank was it?
Not for sure.
The only tank I ever had leak was the RSM tank, the one I had on my fire cat.
I've had plenty of them leak. Every one I take out of the package, I pressure test.
Yep. How do you?
Every time I take it off the plane for any reason, I pressure test it too.
I got a deal when I pressurize the hose I use for the muffler, you know, to pressurize with, and then you got a fuel line, your fuel filter, and another fuel line. Then it goes on your NBA. I leak checked all that too.
That's probably a good idea. Yeah, because
Put pressure on the hoses.
You'll have leaks in there that you never know because they don't push fuel out and drip. They just suck air in.
Yeah, exactly. And you look at the tubing, and it looks perfectly fine. But yeah, you leak check it, and you see, oh wow. You know, sometimes them fuel lines, you get like a nick. They look like a little cut or a nick in there, and you don't see it.
Yeah, or they don't look like anything really sometimes. The slightest little one will ruin your engine run.
Yeah. Have you ever seen anything like this?
I wouldn't want you to come at me with it. I can't tell what it is.
This is a copper tubing out of a oil pressure out of a
still.
Huh?
Copper tubing out of a still.
Is it a thermal switch or something or what?
Oh, it's a blowgun.
This is it's copper tubing. It's for oil pressure for a vehicle, and you can get copper tubing nowadays. It's all plastic, small tubing. But anyway, that's perfect. That's perfect size for the fuel line that we use.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, I made this. You ever try to get a spark plug boot off of a spark plug off of a motor, and you can't get it? You ever?
Yeah, when it's cold, especially if it's hot, it'll come off. Sometimes. Yeah, I've had them stuck plenty of times.
Yeah. Well, I made this. It works really well. It's flat on the end here. You flatten it, and then you sand it down, and it's not sharp at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put just a little grease on that, or a little soap on the end of it, make it slick. You stick that down the spark plug boot where the wire goes in.
Yeah.
It'll slide right down in there. And then when you hit your blowgun, that thing will pop right off. Anyway, it makes a nice leak check.
Ah, good. Here comes Jim Ballard. Hey, Jimbo.
Hey, Rusty. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good. So, what you got going on now that the poor old Twister is benched?
Oh, I flew today. I flew my old Buster today.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Successfully, I hope.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I put a couple, 3 flights on it. And so everything's good.
Hey, I'm glad Sparky's here. There's a question. This is the first time I've ever used these lead outs like this. And they're the pull out adjust.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Now, do I first do my trim test, my trimming, and then right where my lead out should be, do I put like CA on them, or
What I do.
do you do it before flight, or wait until you get it set and then do it?
Wait until I get it set.
Okay. So they ain't gonna pull out or nothing. They fit in there pretty tight.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
All right. Cool. That was it. Now we're back. Now we're gonna go to the gobble swamps.
I think they decided that's a Crusader.
Yep. I think you're right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
read all the comments there. That's kind of
And we finally got the old German spelling. It's of the proper way to spell it, as translated to English. Goebel or something. I don't know.
Boy, this plane's about almost too big for the shot.
I forgot to get my coffee. Y'all entertain yourselves for just a second. I got to chuck my cup in the microwave. I'll be right back.
Okie dokie.
Jim, how far are you from Dallas?
I'm about 3 hours. 3 hours west.
Oh yeah, you're a ways then. Yeah.
West of Abilene.
Okay. Because I was gonna say in May they got the contest in El Dorado, Arkansas.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's probably 4.5 hours from Dallas, maybe 5.
Yeah, it's about
4 hours for me.
it's about 9 hours from me. I've already looked at it.
Yeah, I went to it in end of October last year or beginning of November. November it was.
And these voodoos are so easy to build.
Looking good, Sparky.
Yeah, it looks nice.
And this is number 4.
Cool.
This is number 5 and number 6.
There you go.
Cool.
And I think I'll be done.
That's how many you're gonna take to Brodeck?
Yeah.
How long's it taking you now from start to finish?
I don't know. I don't keep track. I can build one in a day easy. From scratch. They're nothing. I cut all the ribs in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, I kind of looked through as many pictures as I could find, and I added some tips to the to my boom there on the stab and the elevator. Will that disqualify being classic legal?
No.
Huh?
No.
Okay.
So has anybody here had experience with the Mike Pratt primary force?
Good airplane.
I hear it is. Well, I got one coming, so.
Flies exceptionally well with an OS-32. I'd probably do the same with a 25, LA-25.
Okay.
Yeah, but in the club, my club, that I think he flew his with a LA-25. Now, granted, I don't know how much his weighed, but it was sluggish, really bad. But he put a 32 in it, and it flew great.
Cool.
Well, if I weighed a 25, would be perfectly fine.
Since I messed up the twister, I'm looking for another stunt trainer. So.
Build you another twister.
Well, and I may fix this one. You know, I may grind the wing out of the.
I think you'd be glad that you did. I was when I fixed mine. Because they're tough as nails, but I mean, you know, you clobber the ground, the wing's going to break. But that's one thing. If you know, you might be able to buy a foam wing. Somebody will make you a foam wing that will fit that if you wanted to do it that way.
Might do that too.
Yeah, if you
it's just
website, you can get a wing kit.
Yeah, mine's just such an easy plane to fly. I've been impressed with it. That's why I, you know, always Google over it when people start talking about twisters, because I've really been impressed. And I flew another plane I flew really well was a Nobler, and the Cardinal too, actually. But the twister was right up there with them. And the thing about Nobler is being full fuselage. When you clobber the ground with it, you know, you got a hell of a lot bigger job on your hand than you do with a profile.
Sure. Well, I picked up a Brodak ARF smoothie at a swap meet, and so I've been working on it to get it going, and it's not going to take very long. So I think I'm going to go ahead and finish it, and then I may jump on the twister repair. So.
Hey, Sparky Bob Bishop over on YouTube says you ought to cobble together a Netspan Splinter combat rig. He said they're so tight turning, it's scary. You ever heard of that one?
No. I'm just doing this because this is what I did as a kid. 1969, I was flying these.
That's a great reason to be doing it.
I don't even know that I can keep up with it.
You will.
Well, I bet you
get the hang of it. And if you can't, just, you know, stop it and do some loops or something just to get your bearings back.
Figure eights, do some lazy eights.
They're not so lazy with a combat plane, but still. That time I got the sun in my face and turned around too fast flying my half-A Gladiator. I had to fly it behind my head for about a half a bladder before I tried to bring it around, but then I ended up pancaking it because I was not remaining calm. If you remain calm, you can actually keep ahead of a combat plane. If you let it startle you, then it's got the best of you.
I've watched combat flyers not even looking at the airplane up there doing all kinds of didos, you know, just over their head and looking off someplace else.
Yeah, they can't fly combat and look at their own plane. You know, you look at the stream.
Watch the other guy's plane.
Chase the streamer, yeah. If you chase his plane, you'll end up clobbering it.
Yeah.
My airplanes have half-ounce of wingtip weight, 2 degrees of motor offset, so it should stay out there. It should be able to lay down on the ground and fly it.
Tell me what kind of offsets you like to put on your stunters.
3 degrees.
Oh, really?
3 degrees. Really?
More than I expected. I put 2 aluminum wedges on my Cardinal.
Wow.
I usually use 2 degree wedges.
3 degrees, huh?
And you want to fly slower, you have to go more.
Oh, is that a secret to slow you down?
Yeah, it creates more
drag. The whole airplane out there.
Oh, okay. Well,
keep line tension.
I thought I got plenty of tension. I only used 1 degree.
Yeah.
I pretty much do 2 on the stunters
Hey,
and
why don't you ask
3
that
on
question?
combats.
On the forum. I've seen that conversation before.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of them say, "Hey, you don't put nothing on them."
Yeah, well, you gotta pick your builders on Stunthangar and to be consistent if you're gonna start taking too much advice.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's all personal preference. What you
Well,
like?
I don't know. I think there are a lot. At least ought to be something. You know, I don't think 0 would be ticket. I'd want to feel. I'd feel better inside. You know, have a little offset.
I like a little offset, but I'd prefer to 0 on the rudder. So far, that's my preference.
Yep.
At the level I'm flying at, I can't say anything for sure.
Well, rudder is different than motor offset. Rudder makes it fly in a crab. Motor offset is like setting up a sprint car with stagger.
Yep.
It gives it more of a lateral vector than a skewed vector.
Yeah. It's you got outward thrust on the thrust line.
I hope none of those engineers are listening to me talking about vectors.
I don't know. You remind me of that airplane movie, Victor. You got your Victor or Vector?
Yeah.
Give me a vector, Victor.
Yeah,
Those
Victor.
were those comedies that were so stupid they were funny.
I know, right? Man, if I had a can of DC 540 right now, I could get this done tonight, and I could start painting tomorrow.
Yeah, you could start painting tonight with DC 540. Hey, Charles.
I don't know.
Hey, what's up?
I've been sanding and sanding and sanding. I think seems like I've been sanding on this thing for a week.
Good for you.
Yeah. I mean, I've done a lot of work, but it really, actually, if you've been watching, the only thing that's different is the rudder and the tips.
You know, when you were texting me about that on Saturday night, I was looking at the picture you sent, thinking you wanted to add something more than what you were showing me in the picture. That's what I was confused about.
I started looking at pictures, and this tip here, I kept looking at the pictures. This tip right here wasn't on there, you know, and I started looking at the thing in a whole, and I liked that tip. So I made the tip.
Yeah.
And I hollowed it out. Both tips together only weigh a quarter ounce.
Yeah. One of the pictures you sent me, one of the Google pictures you sent me, had a little bit sharper tip. Of course, it had a tapered wing and stab too, but
Right here
looked pretty sharp. All right, exactly.
Right. So yeah, I kind of just matched it. Tried to anyway to make it look right.
I like it. It's got more style.
That's what I thought. But I tell you what, you talk about a bitch putting these on.
Oh yeah.
These things are incidented, and they're at 0 degrees.
0 degrees.
Yeah, Hercules. But yeah, there's the bottom. Yeah.
That's good.
What I forget. What's it got? Tricycle gear on it?
Yeah. My first tricycle gear. I maybe ought to start asking someone about, hey, is there anything I should know about coming in for a landing or taking off or?
It's got to be a little different.
Yeah, keep the nose up a little.
Keep the what?
Keep the nose up a little. Nose down bad, nose up good.
Yeah.
I know this thing is awful awful light.
That's good.
Oh, Bob just popped up something or posted something on the chat box. Said that he just read that YouTube popped a box up saying these chats are now being saved along with the videos. I read something about that the other night, and I thought they were talking about the in-video chat, like the one if you turn it on in the box where we are over on the right. But I guess since he's seeing it, they must be talking about the YouTube chat. And I looked at, after I read that, I looked at some of our archived Hangouts and I didn't see any evidence of it, but maybe they hadn't started yet, or they must have now since he got that pop-up. Let me open my watch page and see if I see anything.
Let me know if this sanding's affecting any noise, you guys, okay? And I'll mute my mic.
Okay.
Oh, stop it. It's too loud.
What's that? I can't hear you.
Yep, they're going to ruin YouTube.
Don't keep saying that. They might demonetize you for that comment.
Nah. A
They
lot of people I watch on YouTube, they say far worse and ain't nothing happened to them.
If anybody knew how much money we make on this, you'd laugh. You can see Rusty, can't you?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. Yeah, I can see everything on your channel.
Are we making a killing?
No, I wouldn't say so.
$30 a month is my biggest month.
Hey, that's a voodoo right there.
What percentage of your earnings come from the Hangouts?
Whatever they donate.
So you're back home, huh, Sparky? Good for you.
Yeah, I'll be leaving out here in a couple of days, though. And I won't be back for a couple of months.
Oh, Gerald's on YouTube with us. Hey, Gerald. Let's see what's he saying. Oh, he'll join when the boys are home from school and settle down with some food. Change the daylight savings time. I was wondering about other countries. So New Zealand went daylight saving time this week too.
Worldwide.
I guess it has to be for the banking system and every other kind of business nowadays.
Oh, shoot.
I went to Walgreens on Sunday and got me this big old bag of black jelly beans. I got a bag of colored ones too, but I only eat about half of those. About 3/4 of them, maybe.
At least we haven't had any more offensive people on here.
There we go. There we go. All right.
I also figured out how to get them knuckleheads. I should go over there and do it anyway. Put a strike on them when they stole our video that one time.
I wrote a complaint. I took the liberty of doing that. And
I wrote a complaint, but that's not what would get them banned.
it also had a button for stole video when you checked off what the reasons were. That was one of the selections. So I checked that too. But yeah, I hadn't seen anything about that. There's no reason they should be able to post our stolen video on their website.
Well, let's just hope they've given up on us.
Maybe, but they can't get into us now. There's no way they can get the URL. It's hidden unless you're a Stunthangar member.
Yeah, unfortunately, I deleted somebody who should have been passed through today. I had 250 to go through, and I missed one. I went too quick, so I didn't approve them.
Well, for anybody that's watching, and we've got 7 viewers right now, if you want to be able to get into the streaming videos / at the bench thread where the keys to this video chat is, then you'd have to be a member of Stunthangar. And if you do want to join, especially for that reason, send me a PM too, and I can notify Sparky if, you know, if I know somebody specific wants to get into the Hangouts, that'll expedite things, maybe. Sparky's busy though.
Watch out, you're gonna get Cynthia again.
You get, what did you say, Jamie? You get what?
Watch out, you're gonna get Cynthia again.
Oh yeah, well.
How's that twister wing coming, Jamie?
I'm gluing the leading edge on now.
Cool. Hey, how many times you been told to or been asked to, are you going to franchise that?
Only one person.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. It's the one that's working on that goofy looking P38 wannabe thing right there that just stopped standing when I said something.
You better read your post because there's another one on there. Another guy was asking you. Are you going to franchise that?
Oh, no, you're right. There is. I had a couple of them, but no, no. If I'm gonna fancierize it, I'm just gonna buy the Umling kit that's already fancirized. You know.
That would be my recommendation too. Yeah, that's a whole lot easier.
Now, granted, I have another twister fuselage. I just need a wing kit for. I mean, yeah, I could do it to that. Don't get me wrong. It was just always a possibility, but you know, I just want to build a stock one. And that's all I need for now. Something to prep me up for that gypsy.
Been flying lately, Jamie?
Not at all. I ain't flew since mid-December, I want to say.
Sounds about right.
When?
The weather's just been terrible over here. It's either raining or it's windy.
Oh. Yeah, I can't wait to fly, man. I got some planes to fly this year.
You fly today, Charles?
No, I didn't fly today, but I could have. But I was working on family stuff.
That's no fun.
It was a beautiful day here in Texas. I took advantage
Yeah,
of
a
it.
beautiful weekend here. I was at the beach this weekend.
Well, I came back to Missouri, and I left, and it was sunny. And on the drive here, it was a blizzard.
Wow. That was a good day here.
Man, you got to watch that driving. Man, there's people that really don't know how to be driving in bad weather.
Yeah, especially snow. We have that problem here. People don't have a clue how to drive in snow. It helps if you got a straight drive. I'd much rather be in the snow with a straight drive than an automatic.
Yep.
Yeah, you can use that. That's where I miss the rear wheel. Well, front wheel drive is pretty good, but because the wheel going it forward. But
I'd like to have a car with
traction control.
I'd love to have a car with an automatic manual transmission with paddle shifters on the steering wheel, and you get instant shifts. It's not that, you know, they got toy on regular hydraulic automatics, and there's a delay when you push the button, so you can't really use them for anything serious. But a manual that's hooked up to run with automatic clutches, I think they use dual clutches. It's just instant shift. And those are great. That's the best transmission there ever was, as far as I know.
Oh, well.
I've not actually driven one. I just deduced that from knowing what it is. I've built a couple of manual transmissions, but I've never learned how to build automatics.
A lot of parts.
Yeah.
A lot of parts.
Yeah, and when you seal it up, if you got one little thing wrong with all of those little hydraulic ports and valves, then you got a whole.
Hey, what's worse is working with a bunch of a-holes. I got done putting a whole transmission together, and I'm looking it over, and I'm getting ready to put it on the hydraulic jack to put it in a car.
An automatic transmission?
And there was a spring. And I'm like, oh my God.
Oh shit.
Somebody pranked you.
That's right. That's exactly right. The guy started laughing. It was a spring from an ink pen.
Yeah, it looks just like something that would have a little bulb valve on top of it or something, doesn't it?
Man, I tell you. It makes your heart stop for a second there and go, uh-oh. Yeah, you don't want any bolts or anything left over from a tranny.
What do you do
I got
for
a buddy here in St. Louis that can take an automatic transmission, take it completely apart, throw all the parts in a box, disarrayed, you don't know what anything is, hang the case, he'll wash the case, the transmission case, hang it on the bench, and put the box up here and just start putting it back together.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I could do that with a copy machine back in the day, and that ain't no simple machine either.
Yeah, that's hard to do, especially when you find hard parts that are bad in the tranny. You order them and you got to wait on them, and then you got other cars to do in the shop, so you might not get back to that tranny for a week.
No show's the best mechanic I know, besides me. I built his motorcycle engine. He works on my car.
I never really had any formal training. I was born a natural mechanic, though. I just have the genes for it.
Joe can change a head gasket without taking the head off.
Wow. Now, on what?
On a motorcycle?
No, on a car. He didn't take the manifold off or nothing.
How in the hell is that possible?
Depends
you
on
gotta
what
get the
motor.
old one out and clean the surfaces.
He does that too. Takes the bolts out of it, takes a pry bar, and he pries the head up, takes a long scraper, scrapes the head gasket, slides the head gasket underneath it, puts it back together, and done.
You vacuum it out through the gap or something, because it's going to have all kinds of crap down in there.
Don't
From
matter.
the shavings. I guess it'll burn them off. Change the spark plugs after you test drive it. I can do all kinds. I got a friend that claimed that he replaced a piston and rod without from underneath of his Camaro, and I'm thinking, ain't no fucking way you can even get the oil pan off. Now I didn't crawl under there and look, but I've never seen a car you can get the oil pan off of.
No,
Not a hot.
And you really want to know the truth? Back in my dad's day, they used to grind crankshafts in the car.
Now I've seen that.
I can believe, yeah.
Now I've seen that. Yep, I've seen that. Yep. They actually had there was actually a machine that was designed just for that purpose, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess it had a rotating assembly and claws that you put sandpaper in and and just fit it over, fit it all together and spin it.
Yay.
Rusty, I did a in-car overhaul, pistons, rings, rod bearings on a 64 Chevy and never pulled the motor.
Yep.
I saved money by switching to Geico.
I've done that too, Jim.
What was it, a 283 or something like that?
Yeah, it was a 283.
I didn't know the four-wheel drive had a lift kit. It was easy for me. I just that Indian style, perfect.
My first car was
a
67 Super Sport.
Jack the motor up, take the oil pan out, and then pull the head and the manifold off, and take the ridges out of the cylinders on them, and then pull the pistons down, pushing the rods back down in the top, and
Yeah, my first car I got for Christmas when I was 16, it was a 67 Chevy 2 Nova Super Sport with a 283 and a slip and slide with power glide, 2-speed automatic.
Yeah, man.
yeah, my 64.
That was like everyday car driving, wasn't it?
I always wanted a 64
Nowadays,
Malibu.
luxury.
I always wanted a 64 Malibu, but never did have one. And a 66 Chevelle Super Sport. I did have it. Now, when my dad died, I inherited my dad's, when I was a little older in college, I inherited his 69 Chevelle SS 396 with a turbo 400. That turbo 400 was a badass transmission.
Yeah, it sure is.
That 396 was a badass engine too. It was there were 3 different 396s. Mine was the 350 horse model.
My flying buddy just bought a 68 Chevrolet half ton, and he's got a turbo 400 in it. He wants to get rid of it and put in the $700 R4.
What's a 700 R4? That you talking about a transmission?
Yeah. Well, it's got the overdrive, but the bad thing about them R4s is the clutch pack system. There's too many clutch packs on one shaft. Basically what it is. Yeah.
Is that what you do for a living, Tom?
Mechanic, yeah. But I don't do any trainings anymore. I stopped doing that probably late 90s. Just got too much buying. Every time a transmission come out, you had to have a tool. And then it started becoming electronic. And then it was hooked up to its own computer. I was like, man, couldn't keep up with the programming. Hell, they want $3,000-$4,000 for the program.
I thought you were heating and air, Tom.
Huh?
That's Steve.
Heating and air.
That's Steve.
Yeah, Steve's our heating and air guy. And Al is our body work guy.
Well, I went from mechanic to welder.
I learned to weld as a little bit when I was in my late teens, early 20s, but I only did arc welding with a channel steel and that sort of thing.
I brought my helmet home, my hood, so I could customize it while I'm here.
My son's got a cool welding helmet. It's electronic. I didn't know they made anything like that now, but
yeah, this is Auto Dark, Lincoln.
Yeah. I can't remember what brand his is. He paid about $350, $400 for it.
That's what we got here.
I don't have an auto one because I couldn't afford it at the time when they first coming out. They was like $300-$400.
He used his to watch the eclipse with.
Yeah.
Yep, yep. So I bought one that there's a, when you put the helmet on, there's a chin strap that goes underneath your chin. And when you open your mouth, the glass goes up in the air so you can see through it. So you hold your mouth open and the shade is open and clear so you can see what you're doing. You close your mouth, your shade closes, and you start welding.
Open your mouth and catch a fly.
Yeah,
That's true. Where a piece of slag comes up and hits you. The thing of it is, you can have both hands free. You see, one hand holding the trigger, the gun, and the other hand holding something.
Yeah. I used to, when I was welding, I used to have to walk on 10-inch channel steel, 10 feet or 15 feet off of a concrete floor with nothing really to hold on to, and slamming that mask over your face, the old black glass masks.
Yeah.
That took some getting used to, and then aiming the stick and then slamming that helmet down, and I didn't have too much problem with it though. I never fell, thank goodness. We didn't have any safety equipment back then. I didn't have a rope tied to me. All I had was my balance.
We've done some stupid things in our life, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
I watched a pretty cool video today on YouTube about tailgaters. Nobody likes tailgaters. So what do you think this guy's fix was to stop people from tailgating him? He took one shoe and glued it to the back of his pickup truck, and he took a thermos bottle and glued it to the top. And if you think about it, it's pretty ingenious. People driving down the road looking at this shoe sitting on the edge of this pickup truck and a thermos on top of the truck don't want that thing to fly off and hit them.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's kind of funny.
That's funny.
Funny.
You know what's bad about them auto dark hoods? When they first came out, half the time it didn't work. So you sitting there, you strike your arc, and it don't go dark on you.
Oh God, that's worse than looking at the sun. That's about 10 times brighter than the sun.
I got astigmatism in my right eye from MIG welding in high school without a hood.
How many times for me, underneath a vehicle or a piece of equipment, and I'm struggling around trying to get a better location with it, and you strike it in front of your eyes, and you're sat there, you blind yourself.
Yeah.
See dots for a long.
Well, you can weld without the hood even. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You have the cup hide the arc.
I tell you, before the MIGs come out, man, isn't that striking that rod? Ain't that the greatest? But I still think today you can't beat a good old weld from a stick welder though.
Stick welder is stronger than MIG welding.
You bet it is.
Well, that's why all tractor trailer frames are stick welded.
When I was stick welding, our welding machine, the generator that fed we fed a whole shop with it, so maybe that's why it was so big. But the damn thing was almost as big as it was as big as a small compact car. All the generators and control box. And I was in a machine shop recently, and they were welding with small tabletop boxes, and I don't know if they put out the same kind of current or not.
They do. We got our stainless welder. His machine is about the size of a car battery. And he can go to town with his TIG and just shoot.
They plug into 220 volts.
Plug in
a lot of them aluminum studs or them steel studs, don't you?
What's that?
You use a steel 2x4 studs, right? When you're doing them kitchens.
What you mean, like for
Aren't you still doing the kitchen, setting up kitchens and coolers?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. So I thought so. Man, all I have to do is have a little more paint to paint this stab and elevator primer, and I could be ready for paint.
What are you standing off right now? Just a coat.
Primer.
Huh?
Primer.
Uh,
It's going on the floor. Well, it's going all over my table and the floor.
Yeah. And don't sand it all. I mean, I know you're supposed to sand it down to where you can see through it, but it should still have a little bit of gray that you can see too in the low areas. Right?
Yep.
I'm never sure when to quit sanding.
I sand it off, dude, because here.
But then you're back down to grain again, aren't you?
Look, I don't know if that'll see them like them little specks and
Yeah,
right in there.
okay. That's where that's how deep you're going. All right, that's what I do.
Okay, you see, but I mean, the little darker specks in there is where the primer spilled.
Yeah, that's the low spots.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
In other words, I think it's like the silk span and the wood grain all together in different places. Some of them are good, some of them are bad.
Now, are you going to silk that whole fuselage and everything?
This?
Yeah, fuselage.
Everything on this plane, silk span.
Okay.
Every single except for the nose, it's fiberglass.
Right.
Yeah, the elevator, all these right here. I put a wooden fillet right in there. I had this angle piece.
I saw that.
I looked after I put the tips on. Yeah, I put this piece right in here.
Yeah. I was wondering if that was an addition or if it.
Yeah, to me, it just didn't look right not being there.
Yeah.
You know? So it kind of makes this elevator look like one whole piece. No, that was.
Yeah, you're doing nice work there.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. It's actually pretty fun, but it took me a long time to set these tips up. And I thought, well, I kind of really don't know the rules yet. And there's been a couple, the last month or two, and especially today, rules on classic and legal. Is this explained in this book here? The Pampa, what is it, AMA Precision Aerobatics rules?
Hold it up just a tad higher. No, higher. There you go. Okay. Yeah. Our thumbnails were in the way of it. Now, what's the question about it?
This is the rule book.
Oh, that's right. It is. I got that.
Yeah.
I need to start reading it.
I need to read it.
Judge.
Because my buddy said if I put them on there, I wouldn't be classic legal.
That's nonsense. They used to give fidelity points, but nobody knows what they're looking at anyway. So
right. Well, I was like, yeah, I told him, I said, I don't care. I said, I'm putting them on. If not, snap them off. No, I wouldn't even do that. I'd say, well, I ain't flying classic.
Hey, Gerald, how you doing tonight?
Good, thank you. And yourself, Frosty?
Hey, hi, Gerald.
Jim?
Get the boys all squared away.
Oh, yep, yeah, they're eating us out of house and home and watching a video, but Otto might come in later to have a bit of a natter. He's quite proud of a first prize he got at the Nats for flying scale.
I was about to ask how it went.
Oh, our competition at Whangarei went well. I came last again in F2B stunt, which was normal for me, but the numbers are going up. I've gradually gone from mid 400s up to the nearly 700 now in my score for F2B. So they've judges have told me my scores have been steadily climbing.
Very good.
Yeah, I don't know how the F2B scoring works. So, what's the top score?
With K factor.
What's the top score in
It would
F2B?
be like the 1200s. Somebody that's doing really well is getting around 1,000, and I'm getting around close to 700 now, so I'm quite happy with that. But still a long way to go, and I've got to build some new models. And I had the similar problem to Jim with my model. I separated my wings and planted it, and so I'm gluing my wings back together now as we speak, and I'm doing some repairs on my profile stunt model. The same problem I did last time. Poor flat connector, and the control linkage came apart. I was doing the I was on my third round, was doing the clover leaf, and I was doing the inverted portion of the clover leaf, and then it just went straight in.
Oh man, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, annoying, but yeah, you just carry on. And I had to go and fly old-time stunt after that, or classic stunt. So you just sort of got to put that aside and then go on, fly the next model, and carry on.
Right. Exactly.
Were you flying over grass or pavement?
Grass, and luckily it was quite soft, so the motor didn't get damaged. It just took off both blades of the prop and broke the fuselage into 3 pieces and separated the wing. But it's basically a twist wing underneath it, so I can glue the spars back together. I'll just replace the center section sheeting where it needs to be, and I've got my practice model flying again after I do that, and I can go back to working on my proper model, that Magnum that I hadn't finished, because we've got a couple more contests before the flying season really ends here.
Almost winter time there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's autumn now. We've still got another 2 weeks of daylight saving, so we don't change over from daylight saving at the same time. That's why it threw me off. So I think I'll change over on the 23rd. So we lose our daylight saving, but we've got a couple more events that I'd like to attend.
That's weird. You guys got daylight savings time in the winter.
Yeah, well, they basically want to extend it as far as possible. So we've got daylight saving till the 23rd of April. But yeah, they did that a few years ago, and it does make it hard with Stunthangar because you're not sure exactly when you're going to daylight saving and we're coming off daylight saving. So it threw me off an hour tonight.
What'd really be weird is Christmas in the summertime.
Well, half the world's got it that way. It's only weird for half the world.
Since there are a lot of people here from Northern Europe, they like to have a winter Christmas. So come June, they'll have their winter Christmas. But you know, we really get our worst of our winter after August. Really is our worst month. August, September.
God, you would never think that it was winter time in August.
Yeah, complete opposite.
Yeah, well, August to him's like February to us.
That's where if you're lucky and you've got the money, you can experience 2 nice summers each year, can't you? But not many people get to enjoy that.
Where?
Just hop on the plane and follow the sun.
Yep, yeah. A few wealthy people I know that have done that in the past. Somewhere where it's always warm.
You look out the window and you'll see a flock of geese flying next to you, headed south or north or whatever.
So how many voodoos have you done now? Sparky, must be about your 5th.
This is number 4.
Number 4.
Yeah, 5 and 6 are right here.
Oh.
See them?
Oh, you're doing well. Very well. You sorted out motors for each one, and will each be slightly different, or I know you did one.
I got motors for each one. I only got 2 G21s, one from Jim and one that I acquired. And then the rest of these are C35s for slow combat.
Yeah.
That eBay motor seems like it's going to be okay.
Yep. After we took it apart and put it back together.
Yeah.
What was wrong with it?
I don't know. Just needed to be taken apart and put back together.
Oh,
I guess they had it together wrong.
Yeah, I remember doing that. My brother, he bought a motor off eBay and he thought, oh, it's a dud, it's stuffed. But all the head bolts had been done up unevenly. It was all torqued wrong, and screwed the head back on properly with evenly torqued bolts, and he had a good motor.
Yeah, you can really skew that metal and get it twisted up, putting the bolts in at different torques. It'll bind up. It'll ruin it if you run it too much like that. Foxes are famous for difficult to torque head bolts. You got to get them exactly right, because every tiny turn I put on a Fox bolt, I turn the prop back and forth and all the way around and make sure it feels the same every time I torque.
Yeah.
But I blame this whole business on Jim. He gave me that first motor, and it you know, I'm an addictive personality. I just had to get more.
I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun anyway.
Jim, what's that kind of wing up there on the top of that bookshelf behind you?
That's a Vector.
There's a Vector.
It's a Victor Vector.
Vector?
It's a Vector 40 wing.
Didn't they have over and under too?
Yeah. Under over.
Yeah, I when I got back into control line, I don't know, months ago, I ordered a Vector kit, and it was a little bit much for me. So I ordered the twister, and I built the twister, and I kind of set the Vector off a little bit. And it's been like almost 40 years since I built a full fuselage stunt plane. So I think I got in a little bit over my head there. But
Is that tapered part the lead edge or the trail edge? That's the trail edge, isn't it? The trail edge forward swept. Is that what I'm looking at?
That's the leading edge.
Oh, is it?
Leading edge is forward swept and the trailing edge is straight.
Yeah.
It's sitting on the trailing edge there on the shelf.
Those swept trailing edges were a little bit more trouble.
Yeah. This one,
my Yak 9.
Put off a little bit so I could get my bearings. Then I built that twister, and probably it's the first control line kit that I built in 35 years, and probably the best one I ever built. The finish, straightness, everything. I was real happy with it.
I'm sorry that came to be the way it was.
Oh yeah, but you know, Brett Buck he posted in the twister kit question deal, but Tim put in, and of course I kind of horned in on that, and Brett said, you know, it's intrinsic in the process, and I agree with him 100%. Yeah, you know, you're going to fly control line, RC, whatever you're doing, you're going to crash.
Yeah,
I mean, you are.
Yeah, you got to know it every time you take off. It could happen, and it does.
And you know, it's also intrinsic in the process to learn something. And I think that makes the hobby more enjoyable. You learn from it. You apply what you
challenge. You know, if it wasn't a challenge, what would it be worth?
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, so you learn, and then you apply what you learned, and you gain experience, and then the next time you do it, you're that much better. So.
Yeah, I remember one time Homer Simpson was talking to Bart. Bart wanted to learn to play the guitar, and he was frustrated. And Homer told him, And the way it started out, I thought, oh, Homer's finally going to come out with some sage advice. And Homer says, well, you know, Bart, I've learned that things that are that hard to do just aren't worth it. Good Lord, just shoot me now. That's why I said about the Simpsons the other night. They were just too close to real life to be able to tolerate sometimes.
I have a real good friend that always tells me, he says, there's a direct correlation between scar tissue and experience.
I wear my scars like a badge.
Yeah. And
Yep.
What you doing, Charles?
I'm trying to put this tank in this Strega.
The way you were moving the plane back and forth, I was expecting to hear you go, yeah.
His Charles playing airplane again.
Yeah, Charles is playing airplane again.
I'm looking at this landing gear struts on your plane, Tom, and I noticed I've seen a lot of wing-mounted gear that have the struts pointing in, the axles turned in towards the fuselage. Is that any other reason besides just more dependable retention that they're pointed that way?
He don't know. He didn't design it.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know. I mean, why would I don't think it really matters except for personal taste, maybe.
It does matter. The reason why they're turned in is so that you can put wheel pants on it and you don't see the wire on the outside. They're meant for wheel pants.
I see.
Yeah, this ain't getting wheel pants. I fly too much off the grass all the time, man. So I ain't.
What about wheel pants? I guess you got to be real careful not to get any thrust angle. In other words, have one turned in or out a little bit, because they'll guide the plane just like a rudder if they're turned a little bit, I suppose.
Well, I don't know, but I had problems at the Nats because I had some wheel pants on that hurricane.
Grass get in the way.
He sure did. Made me nose. Then I had to take an attempt.
I'm going to try to make mine removable on the Cardinal, but I'll probably be flying that plane a long time before I bother to even carve the wheel pants. But it came with all the wood to stack together and carve out. The wingtips will be the first ones I've ever carved. But now that I got my new Dremel kit for Christmas, I'm itching to do something like that. And man, it's a dream to use the new one compared to that 40-year-old Dremel.
Yeah.
I've been contemplating on buying a new Dremel too, but this is my old one. Why buy a new one when this one works?
Well, mine sounds like it's crushing rocks.
And
probably bearings. Hey, Steve.
Hey there, guys.
I guess you can get new bearing kits for Dremel, oldest Dremels, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
Probably Boca. Bearings are pretty standard across all different types of equipment. Fishing reels to airplanes and everything else.
All you need to do is get the number off of it. You can go to the bearing mart right here in St. Louis to pick them up easy.
Charles, have you flown the model with the new tank? Flown your Strega with the new tank that you made?
Not yet, not yet. Actually, I haven't finished that tank. Life got in the way.
Yeah.
Did you get your muffler Saturday?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, sure did.
Man, all y'all's stuff still sitting on my kitchen table. I apologize. Maybe I get it at the post office tomorrow. I got a to-do list going. I really need to send that out. I feel kind of bad that I promised everybody all this shit and it's just sitting in the kitchen. At least it got from the shop to the kitchen.
What'd you promise?
Yeah, what you promised me, bro?
It's in the promise pile.
Yeah. Well, I have a fuel tank coming for a half A model, right?
Yeah.
Charles, did Eric tell you what I told you to?
Yeah, he told me that I'd be coming by. You told him that. Thanks, man. It's pretty cool.
No, did he tell you? I told him. I said, make sure. Tell him I said he needs to leave with a classic model so he can have it done for next year for VSC.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of that, he gave me a Charles Mackey Bluebird.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it's the tails, the rudder's knocked off of it, and the one of the wingtips is gone. And I guess that's Charles Mackey's first design. Bluebird.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see a moth to swat with my electric swatter. Hang on, let me go get that.
It's a project, you know.
Well, that's good. Well, at least you'll have one for next year.
Yeah, well, you know, I got this Oriental. The Oriental's classic.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. I didn't realize you had that.
Yeah, that's what the muffler's for. It's for the Brodax 40, which is on the Oriental.
Oh, I thought that was for a Vector.
Well, they use
Victor Vector? Would someone say a Vector?
it's
Got
for the Oriental.
Sparking. Can you see the sparks? Where is it?
Hang on. Let me dial in on you.
Uh,
What do you got there? Oh,
I'm not sure I got the sparks in the screen.
I hear this thing buzzing.
It's right there is the
Why don't you go
spark.
and touch it again? Turn it on and touch it.
It is. Ooh, it stinks now.
Oh, okay.
Look in between it. Yeah, he's doing dead moth.
Very cool.
It didn't go kapow like a fly does, but a Holly. We were down at the beach yesterday, and I gave my first one, my red one that y'all saw before, to my friend that lives down there, and they had carpenter bees, and those are big husky suckers, and they were buzzing us out on the back deck yesterday. We were sitting out there, and Gary got his red electric fly swatter out, and he swung at it about 20 times and couldn't hit it. Those are fast, man. Those things can change direction when you come at them. But Holly picked it up and whopped him, and got a good smoking kapow out of it.
I really haven't experienced that yet. I have mine, but my kids have used it, but I haven't done it yet.
If you got mosquitoes, you don't even have to see them. You just wave it back and forth in the air, and it'll sound like popcorn popping. Not quite that loud, but crackling. It sounds like Rice Krispies. That's what it sounds like. Bug Krispies.
Save for later, huh?
Yeah. Get that moth out of there. I'm not going to reach in after him either.
Good thinking.
Sparky, what is the tank on the bottom of that wing?
Both sides.
Oh, okay.
It's a pod. Got a lump just like this on the other side. Oh,
Yeah.
it doesn't yet, but it will.
It's a fuel pod. Hope it don't end up like Armageddon. Its fuel pod started leaking. It blew up.
Seemed nice to be home for a little bit.
It's all right. I mean, Dayton, I'm still building. I'm doing the same thing.
How are you coming on your new pattern ship? Weren't you starting another one of them too for your 75?
Yeah, I just need to get after it. I've been working on voodoos.
Oh, okay.
Got the wing done and the fuselage and the elevator stabilizer done. Just need to put it together. I'm doing this. I'm doing these so I can have fun this year.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we went tonight to the school board meeting, and they got Samantha up there, and she brought planes and stuff. She's going there to the World Championships and stuff like that, and they took pictures, and so I guess it'll be in the school newspaper or something.
Did y'all have a video to show them or anything so they could see what she was doing?
No, we told them where they could see it, you know, and I think they're going to let us fly in the school parking lot.
Great.
So she can fly off a pavement, just get to, you know, for a new plane, get used to that a little bit before we leave and stuff like that. So that'll be kind of nice.
You gonna take an electric out there, or are you gonna take an IC?
We'll take her plane for the World Championships right there, so she can get used to it landing on pavement and stuff. Make sure the wheels are right and stuff like that.
That's an electric one, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I'll go down and get it in a second. We got the front end all done on it, and the canopy and stuff like that, what she wants to do, and the tail end. And
that's the one Chris built?
That's the one Samantha built. But Chris helped, you know, basically, you know, it's the AMA builder of the model legal.
Yeah.
So basically she built the wing and put in the bell crank and all that kind of stuff. And then he built, well, the turtle decks, but them were all molded.
Yeah. By the look of the pictures that I saw on Pampa, it was always her in the airplane working.
We went there, what,
like
6
working on that
weekends in a row. Last weekend, we didn't go this weekend because we had the plane here and worked on it. But the weekend before that, we went down Saturday, and then we stayed Saturday night and come back Sunday night. But we were going just on Sundays, but it was getting too much for me. 4 hour, you know, a 4 hour damn drive down there. Then we'd work on that plane for 8 hours, and then I'd drive back another 4.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was like 16-hour turnaround time. It's like, man, I was just dying.
How was your Monday at work?
Yeah, it wasn't worth the shit. Luckily, I'm semi-retired, and I'd let them know that, you know, not to fill my full schedule for the day.
Yeah, like not put you on a real crappy thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, I always hate that. Was always my luck. You know, working on something till wee hours and all weekend, and then get to work. Yeah, we're gonna put you here. Oh man, work on this. Yeah, man.
Well, that's like tomorrow I got to go to Mount Pleasant. That's an 1.5-hour drive. But I was going to go today, but I knew that we had to do that deal at school tonight. And it's like, hell, I could have maybe made it if I left right at 4:30 and got back to the school in time. But I'll go there tomorrow. Hopefully I won't go Wednesday because I got parent-teachers conference, and I got to make that just for the reason as I never missed one from kindergarten through now.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't have to go really, but I'm going to do it just to say I made every single parent-teachers conference.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does Samantha live with you all of the time? Are you her primary residence?
Well, yeah, she does, but the courts say that it's half and half, and I still pay child support. But it ain't worth spending all the money in court for another 2 months worth. At the time, it was like 9 months. But even that wasn't worth it. I mean, shit to start. And I went down there because she was 17. Everybody says, oh, yeah, you know, they can choose at 17 and stuff. Yeah, horse shit. They can choose, but they wanted $1,300 to start the thing, and then the attorney wanted another $5,000. I'm like, shit, it's going to cost me less money just to pay child support and not worry about it.
Well, does her mom apparently doesn't interfere with her competition schedule?
Oh yeah, she tries.
Really?
She has until it all started again at the Nats. She does it every time we go someplace, and at the Nats she started shit again before we left, and calling her and texting her and just starting problems, you know. with her and stuff like that. And when we were at the Nats, I said, that's it. I told her, so you need to make up your mind where you want to live. I said, you know, in 1 year, you're going to be 18. I said, so at that time, you're leaving for college and you'll be on your own. So if it's this year, next year, I don't care. It's up to you, but I ain't putting up with this shit no more.
Good
And
for you.
And I just, so he said, okay, I'm going to live with you. I said, fine. Her ma bitched and stuff. I said, take me to court. Well, she ain't going to do it because then she'd have to pay the $1,300 to start the shit. And
She's on the other foot.
yeah.
Hey, back in 1990, I was fighting for custody of my daughter. And I had her ever since she was 9 months old. And I lived in St. Louis at the time. Worked for McDonnell Douglas, making good money. And I ran into 5 lawyers that said, I can guarantee custody of your daughter if you have 11 grand.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you're telling me, yeah, this is bull crap. I got to have money to have my own flesh and blood kid. Yeah, it was a long battle. It was a long battle, but I finally got it dropped, the whole thing, and ended up going in Illinois, and Illinois granted me full custody. So I raised my daughter. I've had her since she was 9 months old.
Oh, very good.
Every diaper, you name, every sickness, every teacher conference. Went through the teenage years too. For her, it was like 13, 14. She was really bad.
Well, that's like 6 years ago, I think it's been now. The last time I went to court, it cost me $31,000.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I won custody, and then her mom and her half brother accused me of pulling a gun on them. And that cost me another $13,000. When it was all said and done, nothing happened to me. I got my concealed weapons back and stuff like that, but nothing happened to them for lying. Nothing.
I know it. Same with her mom. Her mom
went back to 50-50 because of all that bullshit. So I spent $30,000 and ended up the exact same way.
Man,
that it did before.
Wow.
Because they want the woman to have money coming in every month. I don't give a shit what it is.
Who's at the dentist?
I wanted to go out to the shop today, but damn, the weather was so bad I couldn't make the walk from the house to the shop. It was cold with marble-sized rain. Screw that.
Oh man, that's great working weather.
Oh yeah. If you don't have to walk 150 feet to the shop.
That's if you're a life of a duck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got about a half-inch snow. Wasn't too bad.
Oh, it was 45 degrees and sunny today here, but it was
One
real.
way or another, I'm getting out to the shop tomorrow. I got a pretty long list already, but I got to get to work on the Cardinals some more. I did good last weekend. This weekend I went to the beach, so I didn't get on it. And I want to get at least 2 days in the shop between now and this time next week.
You know, I just put my thumb through the flap.
Oh, damn.
Oh, crap.
Why would you do that for?
I mean, these hands, I tell you, sometimes are like a clumsy ox. I wish my hands wasn't so big, the fingers.
I'm thinking about getting joint transplants on or joint replacements for some of my fingers, but I have to do one at a time, I guess. But I'm getting where I can't do anything. It's like trying to put my fist in my pocket. I can't get my wallet out. When I do get it in there, I can't feel anything.
Okay, you got people behind you and the you know, and the cashier waiting for you, going, "Come on, dude."
Yeah.
Rheumatoid arthritis, Rusty?
No, thank goodness. It's all osteo. I've had a complete rheumatoid workup, and there's nothing going on there.
Yeah, that's the same.
They're
That's
just beat up from hard use. Everything I've ever done for fun as a hobby or making a living was with my hands.
well, I don't know because I got
Very
osteo
good
too,
with a hammer.
and
Yeah.
I don't
Don't
see,
pound
I don't
on
know
things
about
with the palm
rheumatoid
of your hand.
worse.
They'll regret it.
You know, I don't know see how osteo can be any worse than rheumatoid, but my fingers are all bent out of shape. You know, we kid my mom that she can point around corners because
Yeah.
her pointer finger is so bent that it's almost at a 90 degree.
Yeah.
Like
My middle ones are the worst. Is these that will not straighten up for anything, and this one's got two side by side. That's as hard as I can do them.
well, have your middle fingers done first. Then, if you got to have them one at a time.
Yeah, I can't flip anybody to bird either. See.
Oh, no.
Can you get them all twisted up like that?
I used to be able to do that, not no more. It would bust my knuckles.
Or take your thumb and touch your wrist, you know?
I can hardly even pick my nose.
Can you put your
Watch this. I can take my thumb off. Ready?
hey, look at that. Tom, can you put your hand behind your back and touch your ear?
No.
No,
I can. Look at that. Tom,
I
look at
can. Look at this.
We're all those boys.
And I just had the urge to scratch my back.
You know what? That was always that old joke. And my mom pulled that on me and my brother when we were kids. My brother says, I think I can. He can actually put his arm behind his back and reach up and grab his earlobe.
Yeah, I'm not double jointed.
He's that double jointed.
You had the carpal tunnel as well, didn't you, Rusty?
What'd you say, Gerald?
But didn't you have the carpal tunnel problem as well with your wrists?
I do, yeah. And the walking hand with that I've been holding the cane with is getting so numb that I can't feel much at all in these first two fingers either. And I've had it fixed on both hands, and I did this one in 2016. I was going to do this after contest in 2017, but that coincided with me breaking my hip, so I have to put it off. And if you put it off too long, it won't be able to be fixed anyway. And this will be a redo too. And a lot of times that's not successful, but I got to get a nerve study on it first to see. Damn, I'm letting our grumpy old men's gripe session go on a little too long, and I'm driving it tonight. So I'll try to stop talking about that stuff. It's driving me. I mean, this drives me mentally bats, you know. Just don't like not being able to use my hands. Yeah, Sparky knows how to stop us from talking about all that shit.
Part of life. Like setting up your models, eh? I suppose models have a finite lifespan as well. It's just sad when you ditch a new model that's hardly had the fuel soakage happening, and you realise, oh, now this rebuild's going to cost me another 2 ounces. But that's life, isn't it? Just trying to figure out what's the lightest way to glue a model back together without adding too much weight. I suppose avoid the epoxy, use the alphatic or tight bond, and
what about Gorilla Glue?
CA. Stick it together, CA it, and you're done.
Yep.
Yeah.
One thing about CA too is you can put it in a syringe and inject it down into breaks in the fuselage, you know, push the plunger and draw it out at the same time and let it just spread out in there as you draw the syringe out while you inject it. And I get good results with that.
Otherwise, forget to take it away from my legs, and then it all falls down onto my legs. The next thing, my jeans are glued to my skin, and you think, oh no, I've done that again.
and they can burn, man.
Oh, well,
I
yeah.
hate it when I realize I'm smoking.
Mm.
Well, here it is.
Oh, wow. It's looking good.
Oh boy, let me lock in on you there.
Hang on, let me see this here.
Now this is what you came up with a canopy. So
Yeah, that's the wooden canopy. Okay.
yeah, we came up with that.
Is that the final shape of the canopy?
Yep, that's gonna be the final shape. She didn't want a reversed one or whatever. She wanted a regular.
Yep, yep.
I agree with that too.
Good.
Oh yeah, but that's the rudder and stuff. So
Very nice.
How much does it weigh so far like that?
23 ounces.
Wow, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know how good that actually is. Well, that's with landing gear wire, no wheels or anything and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
For a take apart.
yeah, that's
What's,
Yeah, that's
what's
got to
the,
add a
what's
significant
the
amount.
weight area again?
640 or 650.
Shoot for 30 ounces with no engine or pipe in it, and then you got a winner.
Yeah, that weighs 23 then. Without anything in it.
You got 7 ounces for finish to go. That's it. When you get there, stop.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because all that other shit weighs about 24 ounces. Engine, prop, spinner.
All that kind of all that stuff.
How much is the battery, Steve?
The battery is
Oh, it's electric.
yeah, 12 ounces.
It weighs more than that then. But they'll say, well, we don't have to put fuel in it. Yeah, whatever.
Takeoff weight will be about the same.
The motors are lighter anyway.
How much does an ounce of fuel weigh? Does anybody know?
1 ounce.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
Oil's
6
heavier
ounce tank weighs 6 ounces. Weigh it.
Okay. Yeah, I will. Because I felt like castor oil had to weigh a hell of a lot more than water. And volume.
A gallon of water is 7 pounds. A gallon of gas is 7 pounds. What's the difference? Actually, you know, it's
The molecules on one are heavier than the molecules on the other.
actually water is heavier than gas, but it's only by, you know, a few. When you measure it with a hydrometer, it's only by a few, you know, meters on the hydrometer. It's not by ounces.
Yeah. A pint to pound the world around.
It's only if you pick up a tin of paint with all that filler in it or a whole lot of zinc in it, then it weighs a ton more.
Yeah, paint weighs a lot more because of all the Australian sand in it.
Yeah, I was hoping once I could measure epoxy by weight, but I used measuring cups, and there's a huge difference between the hardener and the resin.
When I worked at the paint company, all of our titanium dioxide came from Australia. They're white sand beaches. Somehow, I don't know, titanium's in their beach sand or whatever.
You know where your drywall comes from?
It used to come from underneath my house when I lived in Wyoming outside of Grand Rapids. We had gypsum mines all under the city.
California, in the desert, they got gypsum mines.
Yeah, they closed them down. Now they're using it for cold storage because shit was caving in. They'd mined so much stuff out of the ground, like where I used to live.
No foundation anymore.
Well, it was fine until I guess water seeps through and it's like limestone in between the gypsum or whatever, and then the stuff you get like sinkholes like they do in Florida.
I don't know what's worse, maybe catching on fire. There's one that's still burning, that's been burning since the 70s, isn't it? Somewhere up in the northeast, Midwest. I don't remember where it was now.
I don't monocoat much. You guys, how much I only have about maybe 3/16 of an inch. Is that enough for monocoat to stick on the wing there?
Yeah.
Yeah, could be if you've got you know, especially if you've got one of those pointed monocoat tools for working around tight areas, that helps get it stuck down.
I do.
Yeah.
You got any balsa-rite or anything like that? Maybe even dope.
Oh, PVA. PVA is heat sensitive, so if you put PVA on, let it dry, and then heat it with your iron, the PVA will help stick it down too.
Yeah. Basically, we had, when I grew up, the next street over, a guy named Ed White lived right by us, and he worked for Top Flight. And he was their top monocoat guy. He tested all of it, shit like that. And he said to vacuum it and take a tack rag and make sure there's no balsa dust whatsoever. He says that's the killer for putting down monocoat, that you can't see that dust, and that'll mess up the glue.
Yeah, that's good advice.
But
Terry about that as well.
Could you add maybe a 16th or an 8th of sheeting?
I don't know what I'm gonna do. I just put it on there and not worry about it. If it comes off, I'll think of something then.
well, put that on first.
Yeah, you know, once you get it built, if little things like that happen, I don't worry about looks anymore, and CA will stick it down, and it ain't never coming back up.
Wait, that's the other thing you could do too, is wick a little CA on that part and then sand it smooth and clean it, and then that monocoat will stick.
Now, the monocoat will stick when I CA it to the wood.
Yeah, it will.
Stick it to the wood and then run some CA under.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Use contact cement. That's heat sensitive as well. That's what I use for the
What you're holding up there, contact cement. Yeah.
It's heat sensitive. That's what I use to stick down the combat mylar. If I use combat mylar, I just run the contact cement all over it, let it dry, and then when you iron it down, it reactivates the contact cement and it goes soft and glues it on pretty well.
Well, the other thing I've tried too, and it works fairly well, is take packaging tape, that clear stuff, and stick it down on there and rip it up a couple times, and that'll pull up all the little loose fibers. That, you know, that's all that balsa-rite stuff like that does. It just glues them fibers down, so it gives it a better surface to come in contact with.
Let me ask you this: what is sanding sealer for? Do y'all use sanding sealer?
To throw in the trash.
Okay.
Sanding sealer, they put that on first, and then that keeps, and in the woodworking business, that keeps stain and stuff from soaking into the grain. Because on real expensive furniture, you'll get blotchiness in some parts of the finish.
Yeah.
Because the grain is different in the wood. So they'll put sanding sealer on, and they seal the wood, they sand it smooth, then they start with their stains.
Yeah.
Then the top coat. But yeah.
Well, on an airplane, that would help keep the weight down too, I believe.
I think it adds it. Myself, I used to use sanding sealer on all of my models, either commercial.
The lightest way to finish is 3 coats of clear dope, sand it with 320, put your silk span down, 3 more coats, sand it with 320, DC 540, sand it all off, 1 coat of clear to seal everything up, and then no more than half a pint of dope.
Do you sand between each of the 3 coats?
Yes.
Or just 3?
Lightly.
You do?
Lightly.
Lightly, okay.
Sanding sealer itself just adds a whole lot more weight because it's got like
chlorate in it. That's what's in DC 540, but the DC 540 has xylene in it, and that's why it dries so fast. And so it's the vehicle, you know, the vehicle is gassing off.
Yeah, that just lacquer thinners, you know, different lacquer thinners. When you see fast, medium, slow, fast lacquer thinners got xylene in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that's the ones that blush real bad if you got humidity.
Yeah, but you can come along the next day when it's dry and wet it again, and the blush will go away, won't it?
Hey, I had blush on my clear, and I think I asked Sparky. Sparky said, yeah, mix a 30-70. You know, then your dope way down, spray over it, and man, it went away.
Yeah.
That's what this is for.
I took blush out of luster coat that
Hang on a
way.
minute.
What do you got there, Sparky?
I took blush out of luster coat that way one time.
What is that? Is that
Was it Randolph thinner?
No, it's retarder.
Oh,
Yeah,
retarder.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I got some of that too.
No
That's
more
why
than
I'm hoping we get Samantha's airplane painted here in the next week or so, because we won't have any humidity and I don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
I had never seen blush before, and I wanted to see some. So one rainy day, I opened the shop doors and stood right there where the water was rolling off the roof and painted something. And yep, it blushed all right. And so the next day, I sprayed it with about what Sparky said, 30% dope, 70% thinner, and it took it right out.
Well, you can get blush in any temperature. It's just relative humidity.
Right.
You know, if it's colder out and you still got 80% relative humidity, you'll get it. But here, like right now, it's cold and relative humidity is probably 20, maybe 20%.
Yeah. Is there any minimum temperature and maximum temperature at which you should use dope? I'm sure I could read the can.
65 is a minimum.
65?
55.
What I have done, though, is I've painted in my garage when it's colder than that, 40 degrees, and then bring it in the house.
Yeah, you can do that.
Kind of stinks out the house, though, doesn't it?
Well, not quite as bad as spray paint in the house. I've done that before, too.
No worse than women's fingernail polish because it's the same shit.
I tell you what, Randolph though doesn't smear near as bad as Sig. Sig dope. I don't know. It gets to me. Randolph, not near the odor.
You know, I used to make up my own sanding sealer using dope and talcum powder when I bought the commercial sanding sealer. This one here. And,
give me a drink.
Margie, do you ever hear any more about getting aerogloss made?
It ain't gonna happen.
No, not enough call for it for them to formulate something like that.
Yeah.
Hey, what causes dope to go amber on you or shit?
Old age.
Age, but it doesn't hurt anything.
It doesn't really hurt nothing?
Oh, I got a question too. I've got clear dope from a Cardinal. When I was ordering it, I realized last time I bought dope, it said crystal clear, Brodak crystal clear dope, and the part number was different from the Brodak clear dope. And I was wondering what the hell the difference is. Maybe the crystal clear doesn't have any UV protectant.
About $1.
Right.
Yeah, that's about right too.
Yeah, crystal clear is actually clear, where the regular stuff does have that UV stuff that turns a little yellow. Well, I'm glad to find out, because I was going to throw that damn dope away, because I poured out about a pint here a couple weeks ago and everything's fine. And I went to make up some more Saturday for Samantha to do some more doping, and that shit looks like maple syrup. And I'm like, what the hell?
I got a gallon of dope over there that's 30 years old.
Did it go dark on you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got my gallon that's dark.
Oh, okay.
You know, and that's what I'm using the clear coat with, because that's all I got. And
dope is not paint. You know that, right?
Yeah.
It's lacquer.
Now, Sparky, on your nose of your stutters, you use urethane of some sort, but it's two-part stuff you use, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, for the top coat.
I think you could buy that at a marine supply store. I might.
I buy it at the auto paint store.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, dope and lacquer and all that kind of stuff, they got the same thing in it as gunpowder.
The nitrate.
Nitrogen.
No, cellulose. It's the same thing as film.
Nitrocellulose. Yep. It's nitrated cellulose. And it either comes, and it's just like gunpowder. It comes in flakes or pellets, or ball, they call it. But they got pellet-looking stuff, ball-looking, flake, and the different stuff has different characteristics on how well it mars, how well it stands up to moisture. I don't know if you're a kid, you know, your mom say you got to use a coaster because otherwise you get like a white ring on a table.
Yeah, and you get a white ring on the table, and you also get a black butt right on your butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can formulate that stuff with the different stuff that comes from Dow or IMR.
Let me click on Gerald. Let's see what you got.
What's he got here?
The Randolph
Oh,
Randolph colors and the Randolph.
that plane. I wonder if that's that vermilion red that I got.
Yeah, it's got all the color chart in here as well.
Yeah.
The Randolph colors.
You see one on that chart that says vermilion?
Oh, yep. Yeah, vermilion red M9530.
What's your take on that color? Is it like a Fokker? Is it that? Oh, the top. Okay, good. That's about. It looks about what I'd like. Okay.
Oh yeah, it is.
The only reason I bought it is because it cost $5.99. It was on sale instead of $17.99.
M9530. Yep.
Yeah, it's just on the actual catalog. It said the shelf life for nitrate dope is 2 years if left unopened, and it said for bitrate dope it's 4 years if unopened. But as we all know, it lasts a lot longer than that. But what I found is
refrigerating it would help too, huh?
My problem was the tins went rusty, and then you had bits of metal in the dope. With my really old dope that's like 30 years old.
Yeah.
So and yeah, it mucked up the finish because the rust was rough, and it was hard to sand out the rust out of the dope. But, yeah, that was the main reason for not wanting to use old dope.
Maybe you could filter it out somehow.
Yeah.
Just use it inside the model, inside in place where you're not going to see it. Or
Yeah, put it on your Warbirds. It'll look fine.
Yeah.
Actually, use it as substrate.
Yeah, underneath everything else.
Good idea.
We used to get our dope from aircraft suppliers, and I'm doing the same thing again now. The hobby shops are so expensive. I go to Aviation Performance and buy the dope from the aviation people. It's a lot cheaper. But, the stuff in the hobby shops is 4 times the price when you can find it here. So it just makes sense to buy gallon containers of it and do it in bulk. Yeah, I haven't really had problems with paint going off, except the hardener of my 2-pack. That always happens after a few years. Your 2-pack hardener sets like a rock, and then you've just got to biff it out and get another one. But
hey, Gerald, I got a question. Those guys that you fly with there in New Zealand, are they members of Stunthangar?
Some are. It's a mix. One's like Paul Lagan as a member of Pamper as well. But a lot of them tend to gravitate to the English websites. They'll go over to ones like the Barton model flyers in England. So there's a split between people like me that gravitate more towards the American side of the hobby and those that go more to England and Europe. So there's that separation, I think.
Probably easier for them to understand when they're talking.
Probably, but yeah, it's mixed. We've got a lot of people.
There's one New Zealander that I can't understand what he says when he's writing. I forget what his name is.
Matthew Spencer's a New Zealander, but he lives in Australia. You might be talking about Matthew Spencer. He seems to be very well known.
That's right. I forgot he's in Australia now.
Yeah.
He sounds like he might be fun to talk to in real life.
Oh yeah, he's a lot of fun in real life, but he gets some people going, and it can get a little bit difficult at times. But I find him a great character. He's very inventive, very creative sort. But often it's like that with the great stunt flyers out there. They're very creative people.
Yeah.
Got an amazing humor, and they're a lot of fun to be around too. It's something I've seen with most of the really good stunt flyers. They're intelligent sorts. They're not just happy to sit down and let life go by. Or go out and do it, and creative, talented individuals.
Yeah. Colorful.
Yeah, colourful. Yeah. Got their own way of doing it. They want their own designs too, I suppose. Those people that are often doing very well are doing it their own way. But do you find most people outside of America that are on Stunthangar are from Mexico or Canada, Sparky?
I don't think we have any Mexicans.
No Mexican.
Hey, Tom, is that a pop pipe sticking out the front of your airplane?
What's that?
I said, is that a pop pipe sticking out of the front of your airplane?
Here?
Yeah. Looks like a bone right there.
Nope, not that one.
When I was a kid, that would be like, hey, we made up a pipe.
Yeah, just pack a ball, fire it up, and fly.
Yeah. This damn airplane flies good.
Yeah.
Are you gonna fix your little wherever you poked a hole through it?
Yeah, I did. Waiting for it to dry right now.
Yeah, I've already did 3 on this one. That's the molded top things and stuff. I mean, they're so thin. I mean, you can hardly pick the damn airplane up without cracking it.
Yeah.
We'll see how long it lasts or how long it looks good.
Yeah,
Let's do it the way I do it. 2 pieces of 16 glued together.
Oh, you do two pieces of 6. I think this is
3/32.
yeah, 3/32, and it's just once you sand it, it's just to shape it or anything. It's like so damn thin.
I think Sparky's idea is a good one for giving you that little bit more strength.
Yeah, a lot more. On the Thunderbolts, when I built them, I sandwiched carbon fiber. I used epoxy and piece of carbon veil between 2 pieces of 16.
That'd be good.
Now, what did you use to glue the 2 pieces of 16ths to get together?
Epoxy.
Oh, okay. Because I did the front end of this one when we got home. We made up the nose of it, and I glued that together with epoxy. But I must have not have got it pressed down good, or I got it too dry. And when I sanded it, it popped up and it delaminated. We had a hell of a time, so we ended up putting some CA in there and getting it glued back down. But I'm like, shit. No matter what I try, doesn't work so damn good.
Well, on those, when I do mine for my XLs, I glue them together with white glue.
Oh, okay.
Thinned white glue.
Oh, speaking of glue, I wanted to ask, but forgot a little while ago. Gerald, when you were showing us the contact cement, is that about the same compound as spray cement, like 3M77?
Yeah, basically the same sort of thing.
I didn't realize that contact cement was could be heat activated.
I didn't either.
It works very well like that. The only thing is some of them will dissolve with fuel, and so you'll have if you've got the wrong one, then yeah, when you've got fuel getting in there, it'll start to lift your covering up. That's where sealing your edges with a bit of cyano is quite good as well.
I use Loctite brand, but next time I'll try 3M77. That seems to be a popular one.
They get it no more. They quit making it.
Yeah, they call it something else now.
I saw it in Lowe's last weekend, but maybe that was their last of their stock. I can't get pre-valve sprayers at Lowe's anymore either.
3 valve sprayers?
Yeah.
What is that?
PRE-VAL. It's a spray kit for people that don't have a compressor and nozzles, and it is
yeah.
a can of. It comes with a measuring glass bottle, and it comes with a canister, and you just mix your doping thinner in the glass bottle and screw it onto the bottom of the canister, and
Yeah.
you've got a sprayer, but it's got a shitty nozzle on it. I don't know why they don't use the same kind of nozzles that the Duplicolor lacquer that I use has, that you can sprays a fine razor edge triangular pattern, and you can turn it vertical or horizontal or anywhere in between. But the Preval's just got your typical round pattern with a hole in the middle that you spray with. So it's good and it's bad. It's good if you don't have a compressor, but it shoots a shitty pattern.
So where are you getting your the other lacquer from? Out of
a auto parts store. I get the Duplicolor Perfect Match acrylic lacquer, and make sure you don't get the acrylic enamel except for cafes and stuff where you want them feel proof. But unless you're going to put clear, feel proof clear over it, you know, that's what you do with the lacquer.
Yeah, I want to see what color this thing's going to be, because Samantha said she don't want orange or blue or red or
that Duplicolor acrylic lacquer, though, it is completely compliant with butyrate dope and clear and everything like that. So they play together perfectly well, and it also plays perfectly well with DC 540, which is for lacquer.
No, DC 540 is for anything.
Yeah, that's pretty much true.
You should get a little touch-up gun, Rusty. I always love my little touch-up guns. I've got a whole lot of different size ones. It's my smallest one, the modeling one. And
I've got the compressor. I just need to learn to use that other stuff.
Have you ever tried to spray on clear for coat when you coat an airplane instead of brushing it on?
That's how I do it.
And then sand between coats, but lay flatter than the brush.
there's a lot of work. If you don't have to sand the brush marks, you're well ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about this one, to actually, you know, once we'll sand it and then start putting the silk span down to spray the clear on after that.
That's what I use the Preval sprayers for.
Oh, okay.
Dope on. Now, when I'm putting my first coats on, you know, before I put the silk span and all, I put it on with a brush. And when I put urethane on, I put it on with a rag.
You can get them little canisters from Brodak.
Preval?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw them on Brodak, I believe.
Yeah, I seen him in his hobby shop there.
But the pressure changes as you use it.
Oh, yeah, because the propellant goes down.
As the propellant lowers, yeah. But it fits the spray paint handles, and I always get those so I can just sweep the can back and forth without having to push the button, because I can't push those buttons anymore. But they all fit a little different, so you have to shim the little plunger to fit whatever kind of paint can you're using, so that the right squeeze of the lever gives you the right spray.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I seen them little things at Harbor Freight last week when I was in there.
Yeah, about $6 a piece or something like that. And I always just use a little block of balsa to make the gap between the push button and the nozzle to the right gap, so that it works. Every brand of paint rattle can's different, so you just got to adapt it like that. But they're worth having a couple of.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try spraying the clear. And then
I think you'll like doing that. Just test it on your test board. Spray it at rate like you would be back and forth at a rate like you'd be doing on the plane. And if it runs, you got it too thin, and if it, you know, you can tell if it's too thick or too thin on your test board.
Okay. I know one thing is that it sure is a whole lot easier finishing the take apart model than it is a regular airplane.
We're not knocking it everywhere and banging on everything, eh?
Yeah, I mean, it's like last night when Samantha was putting dope on the wing and stuff like that. She had half a wing in her hand, putting it on, and the stab comes off. So you just take that off. It got all these parts, and it's like it's really easy. And she's like, "Man, you're not leaning, trying to not hit the wing when you're trying to dope it and stuff like that."
Yeah, you're right.
Wait, where are you muted for, Tom?
Because he's making too much noise, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, is it another thing?
What were you doing? Swearing while you were cutting that stuff?
What you got there, Gerald?
This is another one I wanted to try. I'm always game to try a new product if I can afford it. And that's the water-based contact adhesive.
Back up a little bit. A little farther away. Yeah, now it's see.
Quick grip.
It's to replace my core bomb that I can't buy anymore.
Is that made by Wellswood? No. Why don't you use Z-epoxy for?
Oh, if it's for the kids' models, I just want something cheap. I don't want to go through all the hassle of expending a whole lot of epoxy on it. And the boys are both trying to build better stunters now. My oldest son, Otto, wants to build a Corsair, and we'll probably just use a foam core wing and cardboard like we used with his Hellcat. That worked well for him. It got him first place at the Nationals as a junior in scale. He wanted to come and show us his certificate that he got. But I've just done simple models that are quick to build and easy to repair with them without too many expensive materials. If I'd covered the whole wing in balsa, it would have cost a fortune compared to covering it in card. So it works well for their models. They're not worried about having to have something at 12 ounces per square foot and something that looks absolutely brilliant. So I've done a few cardboard covered models like that, and that's one way of helping build more models quickly.
Well, guys, I'm gonna hit it.
All right, Sparky.
Yeah, it's almost midnight here.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, we're busy good night.
This show went fast. I must be having fun.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you.
All right. See you later, Sparky.
See you, Sparky. Catch you later.
Yep.
Fair winds, tight lines.
Hey, Charles, have you tried to balance that airplane without any muffler on it? Will that should bring it in okay?
No, I haven't tried it yet. Good idea. I haven't really verified where the CG is. I was just going by how it flies. It wouldn't turn. So I put some tail weight on it, and I was just thinking the nose is too heavy, and so I don't even know where the CG is at. I don't even know where the CG is supposed to be at.
Yeah, we ended up on Samantha's. We ended up at, but that's the full Brodak muffler. We end up adding a ½ ounce to the tail to get it to turn good and stuff.
I have a ½ ounce on there now, and
okay.
It turned good enough for me. But I went from my Striga. I have a hard point handle, and on the Oriental, just to try it, I just put a wired, a wire handle, which has more flex, than a hard point. So, but I still think it was turning way too big. So I'm hoping that the tongue muffler will lighten it up, and I might put lighter wheels on there too. If I can take some weight off the front, any way I can think of, I'm going to try.
Okay.
I might end up adding more tail weight. That might be the case, but I'm going to try to lighter wheels, tongue muffler, and see how it turns.
Oh, I guess everybody's leaving, huh?
Rusty was here, and then he sort of vanished. I think he's going to come back.
Well, I heard him say something about tight lines and whatever, and bang, he was gone.
I thought to Sparky.
I thought he was saying that to Sparky.
That's what I thought.
You know, Steve, last time you and I was talking with James, the part that we was talking didn't get recorded, so we can stay on here and talk all we want. I think the recording stops once Rusty's off.
Oh, I see. Okay, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't mind talking. I'm in my garage working on my plane, so.
I couldn't believe Eric wouldn't let me pay him for that fuselage and stuff that he cut for Samantha.
Well, you know, he's probably his way of contributing to the world championship. You know, Eric is a really cool guy. I mean, I went and saw him again today because when I went to his house Saturday, I went there initially just to get a tank. Wait, excuse me, not even that. I went there to get a muffler and a landing gear, and I ended up buying. He was really proud of this new bell crank with actually the design of it. I don't want to open the package, but he has these discs. I don't know if you can see the discs. Let me focus on myself so I can see what I'm showing you. Okay, so inside the package, see that big disc?
Yeah.
And there's two of them. And so those discs actually sandwich the bell crank. So you have like a quarter size disc sandwiching the bell crank, which will really keep it from rocking. You really limit it from rocking, you know what I mean?
I do that with fender washers.
Okay.
That's a damn good idea, you know, because getting a fender washer that is hard, you know. It isn't actually that big just to give me more disc area that'll slide over a 1/8 shaft.
Right.
Keep it from rocking. But that's a hell of an idea.
I know this is in the package. Let me see if I can show you. So one disc is already like machined on, and the other one slides over, and the other one has a long I know I refuse to open this package. I'm afraid I'll lose it in this garage. That's the garage. But the way he designed it, it's really cool. And then I bought he has those stainless steel
the ends for your carbon rod, yeah.
Yeah. And you know, these kind of help prevent the carbon rod from splitting. You know, most of us wrap the ends of the rod with with thread or teeth floss, you know, and CA to keep it from splitting, but they would reside inside that, so it won't split. And so anyway, so make a long story short, I bought some more stuff that I wasn't planning on buying. Came home with a plane as well. He didn't charge me for the plane. It's Blue Bird by Charles Mackey.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking,